Annie, you will now briefly present the DCAF ICRC CBHR Toolkit, which is an update to the DCAF ICRC Toolkit as it existed in these past years. It's certainly not exaggerated to say that this toolkit is a form of early use of enhanced due diligence. Can you please present the updated toolkit, Annie?
Yes, yeah. Thank you. You should be able to see it on your screen. Dorothee, nod. Yes, yeah, I can see you nodding. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm so happy to be here to share this major project that's come to fruition finally, jointly developed with our colleagues from ICRC and the Geneva Centre on Business and Human Rights in a major project beginning in 2021 to revamp this flagship guidance that was originally developed, I think, back in 2013. But as time went on, we really knew that the rise of new operational realities, thematic challenges, new actors, contexts really made us come back, and also the need for a new format of the guidance, made us come back to it and want to revamp it and revisit it. And so through in-depth user interviews with companies, but also CSOs and governments as well, we really learned what was needed, which is more case studies and evidence of practical applications and more thematic content and a more user-friendly platform. And this is sort of the main items that we focused on, as well as creating this, emphasizing that this is a toolkit of tools. And I think that comes out more strongly than ever, than even in the past version. And, indeed, it really makes proactive engagement on responsible security management easier in that sense, as Claude said, this is a key part of human rights due diligence, the security arrangements of companies. And it's this umbrella tool that brings together the universe of different norms, good practices, standards, and benchmarks, including supply chain standards and other due diligence guidance, sector-specific guidance from oil and gas, from mining, from other large footprint organizations, but also drawing on concrete case studies that show, learning examples of companies. And the idea at all times is a non-prescriptive tool that companies can adapt to their own realities and their context. And in every case, an example is really a positive, learning of a challenge that was addressed. And so, maybe taking a step back as to what does the toolkit actually help companies do? Indeed, retaining a challenge-based approach, it helps companies to benchmark the way that they engage with host governments, with public security forces, private security providers, and communities. It helps them benchmark their own policies. I think Brian mentioned reviewing standards and protocols against best practices, and it helps to really go in one deep dive as to what is what are the subtopics, what are the granular issues, and to be able to jump in and find targeted guidance that helps helps address these issues. I think also it helps to break down silos between security management staff and more traditional sort of ESG or corporate social responsibility departments. The entire chapter on communities, which was originally it was built with CDA Collaborative, who helped support in drafting it. They also played a key role in reviewing this chapter based on their experience. And there, really, the link between security and the ESG side and the social governance side becomes, very clear of how this toolkit helps companies tackle these specific challenges. As I said, it contains more case studies and fact sheets from the, case studies from the field, and thematic fact sheets in different kind of user-friendly pop-ups, where you have topics on complex environments, indigenous peoples, as you see in front of you, human rights due diligence, armed conflict, gender, artisanal and small-scale mining, and human rights defenders as well. And they're all also available in one glance as well. And so, at the moment, the toolkit is fully available online, but also offline in due course, in the sense that it will be not only in a fully downloadable PDF eventually, but you can also kind of create sections that can be printable and can be, can be, accessed when you don't have internet access as well. All of the translations of the past version are currently available. New translations will be available throughout 2022 and 23. It's an enormous text that takes some time also to make sure translations are correct. So we want to do it right. And indeed the previous version of the toolkit is still very valid. It's missing some of those kind of modern elements of it, but the core structure remains the same, retaining that challenge-based approach. And indeed, most of the challenges have remained, and we've added a bit more, but the old versions are indeed still valid. So I'll pause there. I think I've kept to my 5 minutes. I'll leave it up and I'll kind of skim through it, and I'm happy to also address where we're going with it later, or any other questions, or if you've seen something on the toolkit that you want to jump into, please let me know. And it's still, we've just launched it, so there might be some hiccups, but hopefully we can iron all of those out very, very soon.
Thank you very much, Annie, for this very short presentation of the updated toolkit